Welcome in this brand new devlog. My name is Manoa with Evans and Moerani. Our name is Happy Tiki. We are working on our first game, Project Polynesia, a sound design oriented devlog. We hope that you like that.
Hey everyone, my name is Manoa, and if you are here for the first time, we are Happy Tiki, a group of 3 friends from Tahiti, French Polynesia, working on our very first commercial game, Project Polynesia. If you missed our first 2 devlogs, you can watch them by clicking the link in the video description. By doing this, you will know everything there is to know about our game. To be honest, as I said in a previous devlog, since I was helping Moe with the animation of our character in Blender, I didn't really have the time to work on the creation of music and sound effects for our game. However, given that I still wanted to make a sound design oriented devlog, I decided that it may be a good opportunity for me to tell you more about how I learned sound design, hoping that it can motivate you to get started in this wonderful field. So, contrary to what one might think, I haven't always been the sound designer of our team. Indeed, even though I was a musician, Evans taught me programming for a few years so that I could support him with the development of our games. Evans also being a musician, we worked as a duo on the programming of our game, as well as on the sound creation. However, after a while, we realized that maybe it was better for each of us to focus on one specific domain instead of 2 at the same time, if we wanted to have some uniformity in the code that we write as well as the music we create. At that moment, I decided to focus on sound design and Evans on programming. At the time we made this decision, we were already working on a game, but in order to increase my sound design skill, I decided to sacrifice time working on the project to focus on learning as much as I can about music composition and sound effects creation. So I started taking a lot of online courses about sound design, and after dozens of hours of training, I finally decided that it was time to get back into our game project with the team while continuing my sound design training on the side. For my first creation, I had to compose the music that was played in one of the villages of our game. Since this village was warm and welcoming, we wanted the music to have a rather joyful and optimistic tone. To meet these specifications, I composed the following music piece. Naturally, since it was my very first music piece, as the only sound designer of the team, I had a lot of trouble composing it because I had to find an interesting chord progression as well as a melody that suit our needs. It wasn't perfect, but at the time I was really happy with the result. Today, it's been about 1.5 years since I started learning sound design. I have a little more experience, I feel more comfortable, and I can compose songs more easily. Of course, I'm still very far from the skill level of Hans Zimmer or Koji Kondo, but I'm at least capable of making songs that my team likes. Here's one of my last music compositions. So, what you just heard is a song playing in the bedroom of our heroine of one of our old game prototypes. Given that the music was played in the player's bedroom, I wanted her to feel at home listening to it. Also, as there was a small and funny companion creature in the bedroom of the player, I wanted the music to be joyful too. In order to give you an overview of my working process, I will present you the workflow I followed to create this song. So, as I said earlier, the melody of this song has to feel joyful. To do so, I started working on my piano to try to come up with a chord progression that feel fun and joyful. I decided to go with the key of C because it was the one that spoke to me the most when composing this song. Except during the bridge, which is a short passage serving as a transition between two phases of the song, I use only two different chords, the C and the B flat. I really like this duo and I use it often, as it is the case, for example, for the music of our previous devlog. As soon as we chose to go with the happy theme song, I already knew what types of instruments I was going to use to give more depth to it. I decided to go with strings instruments like the bass and the violin, wind instruments like the flute and the oboe, the piano of course, percussion instruments like the xylophone and the vibraphone, as well as drums like the kick, the snare and the hi-hat. This song begins in progression. At first, the music starts with just a bass accompanied by the hi-hat. Then the violin comes in, then the piano, the high wood, and so on. When we reach the middle of the song, in order to add variation to it, there is a bridge which is played in another key, the key of F. Here, the bridge is also composed of only two notes, F and D sharp. For those of you who are interested, you can listen to the entire song by clicking on the link in the description below. In general, at this point, what I like to do is to add sound effects to give more depth to my creation, but for this one I was happy with the result and thought that it was enough to leave it like that. I hope that you find it interesting, but before handing over to Moe and Evans, I just wanted to give you a quick tip. Contrary to what one might think, it is not forbidden to use sound effects and music samples that you find on internet, as long as you respect licensing terms applied by the author. Some samples are only available for personal use, while others ask you to credit the author if you use them in commercial creations. In any case, even if he does not ask, I think it's always a good practice to credit the author for his work.
Hey everyone, I'm Moe from the YouTube channel Let's Roll with Jamong. So, unlike Manoa, I'm not here to talk you about sound design, but I wanted to give you an overview of the progress of the graphic part of Project Polynesia. We are getting closer and closer to the deadline that I set myself to create all 6 characters, and the good news is, I'm not more late than in the previous devlog. As a reminder, by the time of Christmas, I had to finish the 3D modeling and rigging of all 6 characters of our game. I tried to advance as quickly as possible, and at the same time of recording, I finished 5 characters. So I'm still late for 1 character, but given that in the previous devlog I was already late for 1 character, I'm not more late than that. Haha! Anyway, as soon as I finish modeling everyone, I will start to have a look at the animation created by Manoa in order to check if there are modifications to be made or not. Thanks again to Manoa for giving me a hand on this.
Hey everyone, I'm Evans, and just like Moe, I'm going to give you a little overview of what I've been working on lately. For the past few months, I've been particularly busy with my job, so I didn't have a lot of time to work on the programming part of Project Polynesia. But I reassure you, despite the busy schedule, I was still able to move forward and I managed to implement the first versions of the main mechanics of the player. At the time of recording this video, I started to work on the programming of the different enemies, especially their AIs. I plan to tell you more about it in the future devlog, but for now I'm going to get back to work in order to catch up on the delay I've been accumulating lately.
Happy Tiki, happy Tiki, feel good energy, friends and family from Tahiti. We wish you a happy new year. We hope you have fun with your peers. Feel good energy, friends and family, happy Tiki.